Good morning, and thank you all for coming. My name is Bryce Northrup. One of the problems with our educational system is that we frequently wait until 7th and 8th grade to start learning a second language, focusing exclusively on English. I know that was the case for me. I didn't start learning another language, Spanish in this case, until I was in 7th grade. But when I did, it helped me start thinking about things I already knew in different ways. And what brought that to an entirely new level was when I started learning programming shortly after that. My introduction to programming came from an uncle over Christmas break who showed me a few things in Java, just basic tricks like taking out the spaces in the body of text or something like that. Since then, I've done some work with other languages, C++, BASIC, stuff like that. But those have yielded programs that are only useful to me because you just type in text and get text out, and they're difficult to use. So I decided that for my senior project, I wanted to do something that I hadn't done before and work with graphics in a manner that would be useful not just to me, but to other people too. So I decided no better way than to create a mobile app because all of us use mobile apps every single day. So I wrote an Android app intended to help with chemistry. It calculates the molarity and pH of solutions. And for my research, I looked at the effects of learning programming on critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. And everything I looked at, as well as my personal experiences, led to one conclusion. That learning and practicing computer programming helps to improve problem-solving ability by improving creativity, promoting persistence, and developing analytical and critical thinking skills. One of the most important parts of programming is being creative. There's no set way to solve a problem, and this is one of my favorite examples of that. In Android, there's no easy way to have two objects, buttons and text boxes in this case, that are split at the center point. So what I ended up doing is adding an empty text box that you can't see because it's just blank, that is centered on the screen, and then aligning the buttons below the H plus and OH minus to the left and right edge of that. So that was just one of my favorite examples of having to think outside the box. One of the other really important parts is persistence. Some of you in the audience have taken programming and you know that it's almost impossible to write a program without getting error messages at least a few times. And I learned through my experience that it's important to keep trying repeatedly because it might take 30 seconds or it might take the better part of an hour, but eventually you will be able to solve it. And sometimes you get error messages and the compiler just tells you that it doesn't work and you have to try again. But what can be even more frustrating is when it works but it doesn't work the way you want. Like you can see over there where it's just too long and it spills over onto a second line. That was one of the most frustrating parts, and it took me probably 10 tries to fix that. Another huge part of programming is being able to think critically and carefully analyze both what you've written and what other people have written. And programming has helped me to improve my ability in that area by forcing me to follow the flow of a program from start to finish and look at each part to make sure it's doing what I want it to. And that's also helped me in other areas like math, where it's a similar idea of following the work from start to finish and making sure that every piece is consistent and matches what comes before and after it. During this project, I learned a lot about myself, and I learned that I have a tendency to let perfect be the enemy of good. I had visions for this app to be able to do a lot of things, have a periodic table and more stuff like that, but I let that get in my way. I was too focused on the end goal and trying to, on my first try, write a perfect app that would integrate numerous functions rather than being willing to make a rough draft to write an app that's not perfect, but helps me learn how to write apps and how to get part of it right before getting all of it right. Admittedly, it's a lot more difficult to make major changes to a program than it is an essay or a report, but I was unwilling to write rough drafts because I knew that it would be trouble to change it later, and that got in my way a lot. And one of the things that held me back also was the fact that with apps there's a large number of screen sizes, and I was focused on trying to make it work for all the screen sizes instead of just getting it right for one size and then moving on. So hopefully in future endeavors I'll be able to not let perfect be the enemy of good. I found throughout the course of my project and research that learning programming really does help to improve creativity, forcing me to think outside the box and solve things in new and unique ways. And persistence, it's been important throughout the process to keep trying repeatedly, knowing that eventually it will succeed, but it might take time. And it's also affected how I look at other things. Now that I've learned how to program and spent a few years doing it, I can't help but think about other problems and how I would solve them using programming. So if I'm learning something in physics, like vectors, I can't help but think how I could write a program that would do that. And in doing so, I understand the concept involved better. So it's helped me to solve problems in that way also. And this is a quote that I thought applied very well. We keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. Walt Disney. And so I would encourage all of you, if you have the chance, to try new things, because when I tried learning programming, it opened doors for me. It helped me to think about new things in new ways, and old things in new ways as well. And I would also like to take a minute to thank my mentor, Ms. Mitchell, who couldn't be here, who helped me both with the chemistry aspect of the app and also with the idea of what it could do. And also Mrs. Hudak, who in addition to being one of my first teachers in programming, was the person I interviewed for this project, and I got a lot of insight for that from my research. Are there any questions about the project or the research or anything? Awesome.
Is this app available to download for everyone, or is it just for you?
It's available for everyone if you have Android. So probably not. Yeah, Kristen?
Were you ever thinking about sending it to like beyond just Android?
I have looked into that. It's not quite as simple as just sending it beyond. It's a different programming language, so I'd have to rewrite it, but I'm considering learning that also if I have the time to. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Sorry, guys, one more question. About how many hours do you think it took you? Did you log your program, just programming?
Yeah, just programming. I think it was 30 to 35, and I'll go back to a picture of the app. Just the stuff that you see there, I would think if I printed out all the code, it would probably be 4 or 5 pages. Any other questions? All right, thank you.